Hey guys, it's Jim Bounds at Motorhome Rehab Ranch. These videos in the database are queued up by your questions, answers, situations, and things like that. And I am sure in the database somewhere you can glean through there about towing or what to do when you break down. But I wanted to do a video specifically about that. Everything's doing fine. You're just wonderful. Well, it's always that way until something happens. Right? So what do? Well, first thing you do is get safe. Okay? Nobody can tell you how to do that. That's why you're behind the driver's seat or in the driver's seat. You want to get safe. A couple of things. One, try to get to an open area and try to keep the coach level. The reason you want to keep it level is your fuel tanks are 4.5 inches deep. If you're, say, half a tank or less of fuel and you park at a heavy angle, the pickup is in the middle of the fuel tank. If it's angled so far the fuel goes away from the pickup, you'll run out of gas. I've seen people run out of gas sitting there on the side of the road. What do? Take your air ride system and level the coach out, get the fuel to go back over, and she may fire up. But do what you can to keep the coach level. Get to an open area. Don't get next to a guardrail. If you're next to a guardrail and something happens, don't stop. Let it roll. Get away from the guardrail. Get away from the bridge. That kind of stuff. Get on a level ground, and that's all part of getting safe. Okay, so get safe. All right. Stop for a second. Tell everybody to be quiet. Find out what's going on. If we got smoke or anything like that, open the door and everybody get out. So you don't have to deal with them. You don't have to think where they're at. They can just go out. All right. On the way out, you should have some sort of a fire extinguisher or something like that. Firefight, the company I used to have, we'd put a SS20 16-ounce aerosol right next to the door. So whoever goes out has got some fighting tools. All right. Next thing, I mean, this is if this is necessary. If it just completely dies and there's no smoke or whatever. But if you don't know, you want to be safe first. All right. All right. So take a second, figure out what's going on. If it seems like the motor just died, completely died, okay, you got that. I always tell people go to the back, fire the generator up because that keeps the beer cold and keeps you charging if you need to. But before you do that, you want to make sure that it's safe. Okay. But again, your generator is your lifeline because that creates 110, it creates 12 volts. And if you have to stay there for extended length of time, at least you'll have power. Okay. Assess what's going on, get everybody safe, and then call me. You've got my number. This is part of the reason you're a ranch hand is because I can help you in that situation. Now, don't call me about gas prices in Topeka at 2 a.m. I mean, please. This is a service that I offer to ranch hands because it's important. When you have a situation and something happens and you're not quite sure, or you need somebody to help you with it, that's why we're a part of this thing. All right, let's get past all that. Call me, whatever. If it's determined that it has to be towed, first of all, thing's too big to push. And if you have to have it towed, even a short distance, it's going to be expensive to get the right equipment. So before you call, oh, let's get towed, let's figure out what the problem is. No, let's figure out what the problem is before we get towed because that tow bill is going to be expensive. You say, why is that? All right, good question. That's why we're here. That's why we're here today. This is not the right equipment. I saw this online. Somebody took a perfectly good hearse and turned it into a bucket truck. That's not it. We don't want that. If you go to on the internet and snoop around, you're going to find this. And this picture will be below at the bottom of this video. First thing you're going to see is a flatbed truck. Flatbed truck. Okay. Problem with a flatbed, by the time the motorhome, Now, we did put a GMC on a flatbed. If it's got a 180-inch deck, it'll fit. Say if you're going to try to put it on a highboy trailer or something like that, you could put it on a flatbed and then transfer it onto the trailer or something like that. Another one, guys transported a vehicle to us on a trailer. We took our 4-post lift, equaled it up to the trailer, backed it off, and then let it down on the 4-post lift. That works. Or if you didn't have a 4-post lift and you had a motorhome on a trailer, you could get one of these flatbeds to come up behind it, put the motorhome on it, move the trailer out of the way, and then let the motorhome down with the rollback. Okay, so it's not that you'll never use a rollback flatbed like this. A rollback will not go DOT because it's too high. After you get it all over those wheels and all that stuff, it's too high to pass through the weigh stations or anything like that. So you cannot transport very far with a rollback. And you say, well, why would you want to use a rollback? Well, it's all about money. Everything's about the money. One, the equipment. There are just a blue million types of rollbacks, and it's very competitive about making them. There's not much money in them. Number two, it's the lowest road tax and the lowest insurance because it's not designed for big stuff. Okay, so the insurance is lower, the road tax is lower, so it's going to cost less for that tow company to send out a flatbed or a hook and chain type. Okay, a hook and chain type like this, I call them a strap truck. There's several different kinds of strap truck. There's a boom, there's a hook and chain, there's the type that have the rubber straps that grab underneath and lift up. The problem with that is by the time you get the motorhome up high enough for the wheels, when you lift up with the frame, by the time the wheels fully extend down and it leaves the ground, your bumper or your holding tank is dragging. We are very, very low to the ground. Okay, so a strap truck just doesn't work. Now, because of that road tax thing, and because that's what they've got most of, either a flatbed, which they understand it's a motorhome, they're not going to send a flatbed, but they could send a strap truck. Because if they can grab that thing, if it's a P30 Chevrolet chassis with dualies on the back or whatever, they could grab that sucker and roll with it. Okay, that's not what we have. We cannot use a strap truck because it cannot pick up. By the time it picks and the wheels are off the ground, again, the back end is too low. And even if you pump that thing up, now they'll try to bring it, and you say, yes, I understand, you know your equipment, but I can tell you right now that if you look at my bumper and you look at my holding tank, you tell the driver this. I appreciate what you're at, but if you look at my bumper and my holding tank, it's in good shape. If we get there and there's a scrape on there, we're going to have to get insurance involved because you can't lift it up high enough to clear. The back end's going to be low. Let him make the decision because you got to understand their dispatch is trying to get you off the road as cheaply as possible, and they sent the standard equipment, a strap truck. All right. You let the driver make the decision to not do that. Okay? If he drags it and he drags off your bumper and your holding tank, I can tell you where to get re-chrome bumpers, and the holding tank probably is dead anyway. You probably need a new one. But if he wants to pick it up right, he's going to get a wheel lift. They're also called a eagle claw. Okay? Because what they do is they grab by the wheels, the front wheels. By the way, you cannot tow this thing backwards. You cannot pick up the back and drag it backwards. You will absolutely destroy your transmission. Now, if you've got to do it, you pull out the drive shafts, take the shaft off the outer CV, stuff the outer CV back in there, jack it up, and you can roll with it. But as it is, you cannot pick it up from the back. You can move it a short distance, 50 feet or 100 feet or something like that, but never tow them backwards. So if you pick up the front wheels, not the frame, but the two front wheels, and you pick it up by the wheels, it only has to go up maybe 4 or 5 inches for those grabbers of the eagle claws to clear the road, and the back of your motorhome is not on the ground. Now, in any instance, I would pump your airbag system up as high as you possibly can, okay? Because, you can't help potholes and things in it, and stuff happens. So you want to do as much as you can to limit that, okay? Now, they have a couple of different kinds of wheel lifts. They'll have a, hang on a sec. They'll have a normal wheel lift for a car. Now, you tell them this thing is 4,500 pounds in the front. And if their small wheel lift and you're going to go a short distance, will pick up truly 4,500 pounds, you can drag this thing with a conventional wheel lift. But the number to know is 4,500 pounds. The right way to do it is one of the big units. I don't have a picture of it. One of the, they call them a combination unit, where it has a big heavy duty wheel lift. It'll have dualies or maybe 3 sets of wheels on it, and a big wheel lift. Now that's the best way to tow it if the back wheels will spin. Okay, if your back wheels will hold the weight up and you can pick it up from the front with a heavy duty wheel lift, then you're good to go. But if your back wheels, if you lose one of the 4 rear wheel bearings, that's why you really don't want to go on the road unless you know the condition of your rear wheel bearings, because without a quad back system, if you lose any one of the 4 rear wheels, you cannot be towed by that heavy duty wheel lift. You're going to have a landau like this, where the wheels move forward, the deck goes all the way down to the ground, and they pull you up because you can't go. If any of your back 4 wheels, now that's the beauty of a quad back system, you can lose 2 of your rear wheels, one on each side, and you can still pull it up on a lift. You can still drive. Quad back system, yes, is twice as much money. And I don't sell it. Remember, I no longer sell fish, but I'll tell you how to fish, and I'll tell you that the quad back system is safe, real safe in this situation, so you don't have to meet one of these boys, okay? And if you do need to go on a heavy duty low boy lift, you can get up on it, okay? When you get up on that lift, now, like I said, they're going to probably drive a strap truck, and you're going to tell them, what you're going to say to them is, you have a 50-year-old front wheel drive motorhome. It's very low to the ground, and it needs to have a wheel lift. That's what you need to tell them. Either that or a landau. Say landau. That's a buzzword because that'll make him scared. No, not that. See, a landau like this is the highest property road tax, most expensive equipment. These things are $250,000 and way over that. And they probably only have one. If they have a normal towing service, they'll have one, maybe 2 of these, usually just one. It doesn't go out. The Queen Mary doesn't go out unless it's absolutely necessary. And that lift is going to be expensive, but that's just an estimate. Why? Because they're using their best equipment. All right. But you tell the guy that you have a low slung motorhome, it's front wheel drive, it's 50 years old, and you need a heavy duty wheel lift to move it. Let him make the decision. And if he does send out a strap truck, say, I understand, I really do. I wish we could grab it with this, but to be honest with you, it's safer if you have them send out Big Mo, the big wheel lift. Let them make that decision. Yeah, I've said it twice in different ways, but it's important. Don't tell them things. 1, Bubba doesn't like to be told. 2, he knows his equipment. He knows what he can do and what he thinks he can't do. 3, you need to let him make that decision. All right, it's the third way. Don't just tow it and figure it out. First thing, what happened? Where's it going? And that's why I say, if it's possible at all, give me a call. Let's try to diagnose what's happening. I had a guy call me from Australia. Little to be found when we finally figured the problem out. He ran over a kangaroo and it wrapped around the drive shaft. These things happen, you know. But if you give me a call, we can try to diagnose what's going on. If it's fuel and you have a carburetor, it's fuel and fire. If you have, Phytex or fuel injection, what's going on? What has changed? We'll try to go through some diagnosis and see if we can get it back up because, a tow bill is going to melt your wallet. And the daggum thing's too big to push unless you got a bunch of kids. So let's try to diagnose what the problem is. But if you do need to be towed and you are out of your area, you don't know anyone, you don't know what's going on, have them tow it to their yard if that's the closest place or the cheapest way to go. Because in fact, when you get there, you may be able to make a change. Because remember, when you left, you thought everything was good. So the problem should be right there, should be right in front of you, and it should be something you can fix because you've eliminated so many variables when you left, right? Now, if you're picking it up for the first time, you got all your tools and all this stuff, and something happens, now you need to be prepared to adapt and overcome. That's why you bought all the tools. That's why you have all that stuff prepared. And you should have had contingencies for all the different things. Example, never leave home without a voltmeter. A digital voltmeter there at Harbor Freight for $5. Never leave home without it because if you call me and we have an electrical issue, first thing I'm going to say is get your voltmeter out. Let's see what we got. Okay? Never leave home without it. Okay? And the basic tools, never leave home without that stuff. I really, really got to tell you. And there will be a video out soon. I'll be actually doing it Monday about what tools to get. And you say, well, I don't need that. I got those at home. Well, I know, but if you have it at home and you don't have it when you need it, well, what good was it? Right? You need to have the right tool at the right place at the right time. All right. Well, I hope this is helping. If you're going to try to go through insurance, understand it's a very frustrating time. AAA has changed all their requirements. So whatever insurance you have, take a look at what it does. If it can do nothing more than to get you off the road into a safe, secure place, man, that's a lot right there. Okay? And for them to take you all the way home, unless you're 5 miles from home, may be out of reach. So just get safe, get secure, and go from there. I hope there was something here to help you. Give me a call if I can help in any way. And if you break down, I've heard it all. Hey, Cal, remember that time your back wheel came off? You had a quad back system. I hope you guys are prepared when something does happen. I hope this is getting you in that position. And talk to you later.